Arcana system is a pre-battle strategic system independent from the enchantment system. It allows you to increase heroes' attributes throughout the battle. The system will be unlocked after the player reaches level 7, and the slots within the Arcana list will also unlock one by one as the player's level increases. You will need to use Arcana fragments or gold for the purchase and upgrade of Arcana. It can also be acquired through other sources such as completing achievements. Before the start of a game, the player will select the Arcana system in the preparation slot to create an Arcana combination best suited for their hero. The appropriate combination of Arcana can give players a clear advantage when the battle is begun. Arcana is split into 3 categories based on its functionality. Red Arcana focuses on increasing the hero's ability to attack. Purple Arcana focuses on increasing the hero's ability to self-recover. And Blue Arcana focuses on increasing the hero's defensive abilities. Arcana of each color is further split into 8 categories based on their bonuses: attack, life, defense, function, lifesteal, attack speed, critical hit, and pierce. Each independent Arcana has 3 levels. The higher the Arcana level, the more bonus it grants the hero. On the Arcana page, players can freely pick as they wish to create the combination from red, purple, and blue Arcana. Players can create their Arcana combination on the Arcana page based on the role of their hero and their own playstyle. After choosing your Arcana, you can click the top right of the Arcana page to rename and save your combination. In addition, the system has recommended combinations based on roles and playstyles for the player to select directly and use. Depending on the different combinations in a match, Arcana will enhance a hero's performance in different ways. Even if the player uses the most advanced Arcana for their combination, the bonus provided for the hero will not greatly affect the balance of the game. Then, how will the Arcana system help players? During the early stages of the match, the basic attributes of heroes are quite low. Even if the Arcana did not offer much bonus, it could bring about a considerable and substantial difference. Such a change will help the player decide their early game strategy and playstyle while adding more variables to the battlefield. Arcana combinations are not absolute. According to one's understanding of the hero and their playstyle, players will all have different combinations. Should you focus on certain enemy heroes or making up for the shortcomings of your allies? Should you take the initiative in teamfights or increase roaming efficiency? It is entirely up to the player. This marks the end of our video introduction to the Arcana system. Thank you for watching, and good luck on the battlefield. Class Introduction. Welcome to the class introduction of Arena of Valor. In Arena of Valor, the 2 sides will confront each other in teams of 5, and the heroes are the avatars of the players on the battlefield. Your knowledge of your hero and class is the first step towards victory. For your convenience, heroes are divided into 6 classes in the legendary duel: Tank, Warrior, Mage, Assassin, Marksman, and Support. Due to the unique abilities of some heroes, they will have multiple classes. Players can clearly see the characteristics of the 6 classes in the hero interface. Aside from this, players can also check the class of their chosen hero at Choose Character screen in a match. Tank class heroes. Tank class heroes fulfill the role of the meat shield of the team. If you're a fearless warrior who wishes to charge through the forefront of battle, then tank class heroes are undoubtedly the best suited for you. Disrupting the enemy's formation and drawing their fire is the core use of tank heroes. Thus, they also shoulder the heavy burden of initiating team battles. Warrior class heroes. Warrior class heroes excel in close quarter melee combat, combining the ability of dealing damage and tanking. Warrior class heroes are the backbone of the team, and they're suited to fight in any situation. At the same time, they have multiple item sets and play styles. In a real combat situation, we will prepare item sets based on the team's composition and battle situation to balance the team's overall offensive and defensive capabilities. Mage class heroes. Mage class heroes are the core of the team's offensive capabilities, dishing out large damage via magic. Using their spells and abilities to obliterate everything in their way is what all mages desire. Normally, mage heroes all have powerful magic damage capabilities and a certain amount of control abilities to ensure that they can quickly defeat enemies with very high armor. But due to their poor survivability, they can be vulnerable targets for the enemy's attack. Assassin class heroes. Assassin class heroes are the masters of burst damage. Thus, they are quite difficult to use. If you're someone who enjoys the thrill of seeing the enemy fall to zero almost instantly, then the Assassin class heroes are your best choice. Assassin class heroes often combine excellent movement abilities with damage abilities. However, due to their lower basic HP than other heroes, Assassin class heroes rely on other players' ability to assess the situation and timing, as well as their mastery over the hero to maximize their potential. Marksman class heroes. Through steady and consistent physical damage, Marksman class heroes are also the core of a team's damage output. Different from the ability based on burst damage of mages, Marksmen prefer suppressing their enemies from afar and dishing out non-stop physical damage. But their fragility and lack of survival skills are their biggest shortcomings, putting them in a position where they are dependent on the protection and support of their allies. Support class heroes. Support class heroes value functionality. Normally, they are unable to deal substantial damage or have noticeable defensive abilities, but they have the important mission of protecting their allies, supporting their attacks, and guiding the initiations of teamfights. Support players can also be the MVP. According to the different styles of the team, some teams require a tanker support hero who can share the burden of the tank with higher offensive capabilities, whilst other teams require a functionality-based support hero who can protect teammates in dire situations and provide buffs to control and enhance magical damage. Your choice is closely tied to the team's needs in real combat. A team will need to choose 5 out of the 6 classes above to form. Utilizing different combinations of heroes can bring forth different chemical reactions for the team, and the right mix of combinations will allow you to demonstrate your advantages. This concludes the class introduction for Arena of Valor. Good luck on the battlefield, and we will see you next time. Welcome to our video introducing the ping system in Arena of Valor. Arena of Valor is a fast-paced competitive multiplayer game. Communication and coordination within your team are vital to ensure victory. To help players communicate conveniently while reporting and delivering quick, accurate information on the battlefield, Arena of Valor has a context-sensitive built-in ping system that is easy to use. The ping button prompt is placed on the top right corner of the screen in a match. To use it, long press the ping button and point your finger to the triggerable area to send your team the corresponding ping. In addition, players can click the map button on the top right corner to expand the map and send pings by tapping the corresponding location on the map. Of course, players have the option to block ping sound effects and voiceover from other players to prevent interference during the battle. Battle alert pings. When players are on the move, they can send their estimated arrival time to teammates by tapping their location on the map. Players can request support from teammates by dragging the ping button prompt to their own hero. When the player is hidden in the grass, drag the ping button prompt to the grass to instruct teammates to hide themselves and ambush together. When a player is outside of the grass, dragging the ping button prompt towards the grass will notify teammates to be careful of an enemy ambush. Wilderness status ping. When Abyssal Dragon, Dark Slayer, or your own buff exists on the map, players can give corresponding attack commands to their teammates by tapping the corresponding monster directly on the map or by dragging the ping button prompt to the relevant monster. If a monster has yet to respawn, dragging the ping button prompt will notify the players of the corresponding monster's respawn time. Personal status ping. Players can notify teammates their skills are ready by dragging the ping button prompt onto their hero's skills. Dragging the ping button onto a skill in cooldown will alert teammates of the cooldown timer. When a hero dies, the player can drag the ping button prompt onto the death countdown to inform their teammates how long it will take to revive. In addition, players can inform teammates that they're returning to base by dragging the ping button prompt onto the recalling button while in recall. Enemy status ping. When the enemy has disappeared from a lane, the players can send an enemy missing ping by tapping on the lane. When the enemy reappears, tapping on the lane will signify how many enemies are present. Situation alert ping. Players can prompt teammates to defend structures by tapping their defense tower on the map or by dragging the ping button to the tower. When the player is not in a mid-recall state, and drags the ping button prompt to the recall button, it will remind teammates to return to base. Furthermore, players can send scores to teammates by dragging and dropping the ping button prompt onto the scoreboard. There are hundreds of different ping options in Arena of Valor. Players should use them strategically to give themselves and their team a leg up on the competition. Be aware that the ping button is only a notification. The key to victory lies in making the right informed decisions. This marks the end of our video introduction to the ping system in Arena of Valor. Tell us your favorite thing to ping in the comments. Thank you for watching. Good luck on the battlefield. Welcome to our video introducing the team communication systems in Arena of Valor. Arena of Valor is a fast-paced, competitive multiplayer game. Communication and coordination within your team are vital to ensure victory. To help players communicate quickly and clearly in-game, Arena of Valor has introduced team communication systems, such as pinging, quick messaging, built-in real-time voice chat, and emojis. Players can press the context-sensitive ping button prompt on the top right corner of the screen to instantly notify teammates of their status on the battlefield. Players can also drag and hold the ping button to various elements in-game for different alerts. Depending on the context, pings can be divided into types such as battle alerts, wilderness status, personal status, enemy status, and situational alerts. Check out our ping system introduction video to learn more about how you can use the ping system in Arena of Valor. Players can use the in-game quick message system to plan and communicate. Quick messages first appear as part of the pre-battle strategy screen.
Rally for a team fight.
Before the match, the player can set selections and adjustments within settings. These pre-made messages can be split into 3 major categories: defense, offense, and communication. Players can select 8 messages from these 3 categories to use as quick messages within Arena of Valor. Some quick messages even have voice lines that play when being used.
Let me get the buff.
In the event you want to communicate in more details with your teammates, you can also tap the box beneath the quick message window to enter text. Keep it clean. Aside from quick messages, voice chat will always be the most accessible and concise way to communicate on the battlefield. Players can use the game's built-in real-time voice chat system to speak and converse with their teammates directly. To use voice chat, tap the microphone button on the left side of the screen. When the player is queuing with friends in a pre-made party, they can choose the voice chat to be party only. Emojis are a fun and expressive way to communicate within Arena of Valor. Before the start of the match, players can equip emojis with their customization suite. Make an emoji selection while in a match to use the corresponding emojis. When triggering certain scenarios, heroes will automatically release their preset quick emojis. If there are teammates nearby that use an interactive emoji, and the player responds with an interactive emoji of their own, a new effect will be created for both emojis. One last thing to note, emoji displays can be seen by your enemies. Use your smileys wisely.
I picked Dragon Tail. Not the other way around.
Painting genius Jan. Since his childhood, the exceptionally talented Jan has reached the pinnacle of painting as a teenager. But when inspiration dries up, causing the talented young man to fall into infinite anxiety, his master sends him on a journey to find inspiration, taking with him the Rivers and Mountains Dream Scroll and Sword of Inspiration in his path to find materials. The young man's search for a breakthrough is fraught with crisis, but this is no obstacle for the battle-savvy Jan, who will hold the brush of the Sword of Inspiration in his hand and repel the enemies that stand in his way as he paints everything in his path. Passive, Spiritual Spark. When Jan uses Skill 1 and Skill 2, he will gain a stack of energy, having 2 stacks of energy, depending on the difference in the previous skill. will cause the next normal attack to gain additional boost. After using an enhanced normal attack, his attack speed will increase. Yan's skill will mark an enemy when it hits them. Dealing damage to the same target will consume the mark and trigger additional physical damage, restoring Yan's own HP in the process. Skill 1. Black Jade Sprinkle. Yan will deal damage and apply movement speed reduction to enemies in a fan shape in front of him. Passive Enhanced Normal Attack. After a short delay, deals damage to the enemy in front and knocks them away. He can move during the delay and deal additional damage to minions and wild monsters. Skill 2. Draconic Step. Yan moves forward in an arc, dealing damage to enemies along the path. Yan is untargetable while using the skill. Passive Enhanced Normal Attack. Charging towards the target enemy and dealing damage, he can use another part of Skill 2 within a short time frame. Additional Skill 2 cast has a separate cooldown calculation and does not accumulate energy. Skill 3. Hills of Dream. Yan releases his seal, entering enhanced status and dealing damage to surrounding enemies, receiving a massive physical penetration, and can use the second part of the ultimate skill. He gains super armor and reduces damage taken during the cast. Yan will enhance all of his other skills. The second part of Ultimate. Yan charges forward and deals massive damage and knocks away enemies in a massive range forward. Enhanced Skill 1. Deal 2 instances of damage to the enemy. Enhanced Skill 2. Deals even higher damage. Yan's ultimate skill buff will increase with every upgrade. When ultimate is upgraded to level 1, the skill damage of skill 1 and 2 increases by 50%, and the number of times the mark can be triggered also increases. When ultimate is upgraded to level 2, passive enhanced normal attack hitting enemies will extend the enhanced status duration and can be used multiple times when under the buff from the second part of Yan's ultimate. They aren't affected by cooldown reduction. When ultimate is upgraded to level 3, passive enhanced normal attack will return 1 stack of energy. Yan is a highly controllable warrior type assassin. His damage will continuously increase as the game goes on. He becomes extremely powerful in the later stages of the match. Thus, rapid growth and increasing level are important for Yan. The key to mastering Yan is utilizing Yan's skill set, launching enhanced normal attacks with different effects, and making use of the short cooldown time of his skill set to continuously dish out skill combos. At the start of the game, if Yan needs to support and gank enemies, he can save a stack of his passive in the bush. Use Skill 1 to slow down enemies who passes by, and trigger Skill 1's enhanced normal attack to knock away the target, to crowd control them and coordinate with teammates to finish them off. Yan needs to save up 1 stack of his passive while chasing down enemies. He needs to make use of Skill 2 to get close to the enemy first, then uses enhanced normal attack's additional reset of Skill 2 to continue pursuing. Once the gap is closed, use Skill 3, Skill 1, enhanced normal attack, Skill 3's second part to finish up. In team fights later in the match, make use of the buff effect from the ultimate to bring forth a good haul. Yan needs to attack from the flank. Use Skill 2 first to close in on the back row, followed by Skill 3, normal attack, Skill 1, normal attack, the second part of Skill 3, Skill 2, Skill 1 to finish them off. When there are multiple tank-type heroes in the enemy composition, due to Yan's lack of high damage before using his ultimate, he needs to watch his timing when he enters the battle. Make use of the physical penetration from the ultimate, as the bonus can deal quite substantial damage even against tank-type heroes. Due to marks being able to be triggered multiple times, while in enhanced status, coordinating with Skill 2's movement and Skill 1's damage, you can potentially take down tanks. Yan's passive HP Restore allows him to have decent survivability. Watch your timing on using Skill 2's untargetable effect to dodge enemy damage. Yan needs to improvise in battle and requires careful observation of the situation on the battlefield to choose the right skill to cast.
Jade Fan Beauty Yue. As the princess of the Dragon Kingdom, Yue brandishes a fan as her weapon, retaining her elegance even in battle. Aqua Force and Mountain Crusher allow her to easily control the whole battlefield, and Borrowed Might allows Yue to unleash endless attacks. If an enemy dares to offend Yue's grace, then they will taste the power of Rising Wind. Passive skill, Borrowed Might. Every time Yue uses Aqua Force and Mountain Crusher, she will gain a stack of Borrowed Might. When she has 2 stacks of Borrowed Might, Yue will reset the cooldown time of Aqua Force and Mountain Crusher and strengthen the next Aqua Force or Mountain Crusher. Skill 1, Aqua Force. Yue throws 2 bone fans at close range, dealing damage to enemies in their path. After strengthening, Yue will throw out 4 bone fans when using Aqua Force. Aqua Force will deal several times the damage where the bone fans converge. Skill 2, Mountain Crusher. Yue throws 2 bone fans at far range, dealing damage to enemies in their path. After strengthening, Yue will throw out 4 bone fans when using Mountain Crusher. Mountain Crusher would deal several times the damage where the bone fans converge. Skill 3, Rising Wind. Yue knocks back nearby enemies and deals damage to enemies in its path while pushing them back slightly. Yue will gain additional vision. Yue is a long-range mage with a powerful ability to exhaust the enemies, but is complicated to operate. To deal perfect damage using Yue, you need to be skilled in combining her skills to deal damage multiple times stronger. However, when Yue overlaps with the enemy, both Aqua Force and Mountain Crusher can deal full damage. When in the lane period, Yue can quickly clear enemy creeps via refreshing her skills through her passive skill and then assist the side lanes. In team fights, Yue needs to use Mountain Crusher multiple times to exhaust the enemies and frequently use Aqua Force to charge up her passive skill to look out for chances to kill or exhaust fragile enemy heroes. The core combo of Yue is to save up a stack of her passive in advance and instantly use Mountain Crusher twice to deal burst damage. But be cautious. Yu's ultimate is the only life-saving skill, so she needs to save her ultimate to be aware of enemy assassins' heroes in team fights.
No pain, no gain. If you don't wanna reputation while I retain my crown. Back in the background, I'm background, what goes gon' come back round. I'm self-made, built every day from the ground up, I say it proud.
No pain, no gain, if you don't wanna fade away. The both ways, hope pays, heroes moving silence when they say the day. Yeah, I'm a queen, I overcome relentless pain, and I got it in my genes. I'll pass through anyways crisis, no matter what the price is. Prepare, protect my people, always beware. There's always the rivals everywhere. Go on your own, I declare, I'm riding to the air.
Welcome to the Reno Veller International Championship 2022, and I'm gonna be your host for today. And shoutcaster, my name is Vittorio. With me is Mikos. We are already in the quarterfinals here in the upper bracket, and we're gonna see 3 series of breathtaking battles, and it's a best of 5 in each series that we're gonna see. And the first series of the day is gonna be KFC Talon against a dope team. What are your expectations, Mikos?
My expectation after a dope team wins in the groups and have a draw against Bicotopia, they had a little more to show in this AIC, and taking on KFC Talon, it would be a good matchup for ADT if they want to show that they had a fantastic lineup this year to win the AIC. Some of us will say it a little bit hard for ADT, but yeah, maybe the fans of ADT say it otherwise. So KFC Talon is much of a big teams that could win against ADT, and yeah, it's a hard challenge for ADT.
Yeah, definitely, it's gonna be a very, very hard, tough matchup for them. Especially KFC Talon is one of the, perennial teams that actually won AWC as champions in 2021. But still, anything can happen. We've seen a better ADT. They were formerly underranked. Now, as a rebranded team, as a dope team, they are showing a better kind of performance here in the AIC. Gonna hear we're actually in the June 23 on the schedule where the quarterfinals are gonna happen. Best of fives in the first 2 days of the quarterfinals, and a best of seven in the remaining 2 days of the quarterfinals. Then we're gonna have the semifinals and the grand finals in July 10.
Yeah, the grand final will be the best of seven, but in terms of the remaining days of AIC, we would see a lot more hardship throughout the series because of, in terms of today, we had 3 games and 2 upper brackets and 1 on the lower brackets. So maybe one team could be sent home for today. But just for recap, $2 million to be distribute to the winners for AIC 22. The first spot is $700. That is a much money to give for the champions, man.
Yeah, I mean, as the AOV Pros esports scene actually progresses, we're going to see a larger prize pool. And especially, I'm going to be excited not just for the AIC 2022. We're going to see a much bigger for the AWC 2022 as well. And for now, we're going to see the people that qualify and gets eliminated here on the quarterfinals. Are actually going to get $40,000 each. That's a big price already, even for those that have been competing here in the AIC 2022. And we're going to see here the qualified teams again: Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D. From Group A is KFC Talon and Team Flash. From Group B, it's One Team Esports and Valencia CF Esports. For Group C, it is Bikertopia and Adobe Team. And from Group D, it is going to be V Gaming and it's Bacon Time. We've already said farewells to the teams that were eliminated in the group stages.
Yeah, the teams were Matt, SGP. We say goodbye as well to Dewa United and Nova. But this qualified team is the one to be fight against each other to win the $700. And as well, they already had $40K in their banks. But why they want to settle on the $40K? They want to just bonus it up to 700. But now we see the brackets coming in. The first matchup will be KFC Talent versus Adobe Team. We have the next matchup is One Team versus Valencia CF, and for tomorrow we have Bikertopia versus Bacon and V Gaming versus Flash. When if you're not around last week, you saw the draws being made. We have a lot more information in terms of the best, maybe the best game. It could be one versus Valencia CF and also V Gaming versus Flash. That is one of the game that you're not going to miss, because it's going to determine who's going to be in the semifinals.
Yeah, definitely one of the matchups that I'm looking forward for today. It's gonna be One Team against Valencia CF Esports. They've had a bit of a run in the group stages, and of course, Mikos, I'm sure, is definitely going to be supporting a Adobe Team. That is a Malaysian team from the C region, so definitely. Yep. He is going to be having the Malaysian pride. But anyway, even that pride can be crushed. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, we're waiting for the pride to be maybe a win or maybe a loss, because the best of 5 is hard to determine who's going to win. In terms of, we have the global bench to be blood. KFC Talent has much more experience. In terms of ADT, a new refined team, and trying to win maybe is a hard gamble, but yeah, they had what it takes to be in this kind of matchup.
Yeah, I mean, they did beat up the ASL representatives, which are Dewa United Esports, and usually with that kind of matchup from 2021, it usually becomes a stopping ground for the ASL teams. Usually Indonesian teams are actually on top of the C teams from the MSP region, but it was overturned in the group stages, and it could actually overturn as well here on the quarterfinals. But we're gonna see here KFC Talent and Adobe Team actually starting the series. It is a best of 5, so they need to win 3 matches to actually progress. And the losers of today's series are going to be matching up on the third series of the day. So it's going to be pretty exciting and pretty exhausting for the ones that lose the series. On your screens is KFC Talent. We're going to see Tony, Erez, IPA Pro, Moop, NTNZ actually going in for the lineup of KFC Talent. They're not going to put Defoxin in, and they sub Erez on the AD carry position. On the other side, a dope team, it's Botak, Zenshao, LCC2, XF, and Lyle.
I think the name is LYL because because I'm more familiar with them. But in terms of this is the interesting part with this matchup, because of we saw the post coming in from Facebook, maybe Twitter, that LCC2 and also iPod Pro is the top 5 most damage dealers in the game itself. So we have 2 individuals that will match their power in this particular matchup. So who's going to be staying in that most damage lineup? Because iPod Pro, we saw the Lordian play, we have the Zata matchup, and as well as the Crixie. Both of them has the Crixie, also as the Zata, but the Lordian and the Talon is making the difference from both of them. 33% damage from the whole team. They make up to this belief. But yeah, most of the part for ADT, that we saw a lot of LCC2 carrying ADT throughout the group stage, but I would want to see more gameplay coming in for ADT, because we have long saw that how iPod Pro is being the backbone for KFC Talent, but now it's ADC's job. It is LCC2 jobs to just bringing the game to be alive for the game for ADT, because this is a hard matchup.
Yeah, definitely it is going to be a hard matchup. And just to add to some of the analysis here, on KFC Talent, iPod Pro is one of the premier mid laners. LCC2 has been doing a good job for ADT. The problem is that when we see LCC2 actually pop off, the problem is his teammates cannot actually contribute to some of the matches where they actually lost. And that's a big thing, because KFC Talent, I've said this before, a lot of the members of KFC Talent can actually pop off for the team. A lot of MVP performances actually arise from different positions. It's not just about one. It's not just about iPad Pro. You're gonna see Everest. You're gonna see the support Tony actually bring a lot to the table. You're gonna see a lot. And of course, in this kind of scenario wherein ADT doesn't have that kind of help, where LCC2 is always gonna be isolated in terms of the MVP performances, a lot of the members of ADT, the 4 members, actually need to step to the plate to actually contribute. Because I've seen a lot of the games where LCC2 was the only one actually doing a lot of plays.
Yeah, he is the one to steal the Dark Lord to win the game versus Baikazopia. I have to give it that. I also agree with the points that LCC2 is the one who is the one-man show for ADT. And as well for Talent, they had a team. They had a chemistry of a team that could beat anyone that had a one-man show. This is equivalent to maybe a Suicide Squad that is needing everybody in the team versus a John Wick kind of type from adult team, because it's only one-man show coming in. So the first game will be something to look for, because of how ADT and also Talent, they want to dictate the movement and the mentality game that they want to put versus each other. Then the banning already seen. This is the same ban, the Omen, the Nacross, as well as the Aya and the Lorien will be taken away as well, because Adobe team will never want to give the Lorien to the hands of iPod Pro.
Yeah, and we saw the win rate of that Lorien, 100% win rate all throughout AIC 2022, and that's a very, it's a number where you can't actually ignore. But KFC Talent is actually going to go for a hover onto an Elsa pick, one of the premier archers right now. In terms of the suppression, in terms of being able to contribute to fights, the early to the late game advantages that an Elsu can bring actually relies on the skill of the player. And at the hands of Eris, definitely we've seen this before. Elsu is definitely going to be contributing a lot. The answer of a dope team though is they're going to be hovering onto an Iggy, where we saw a lot of the matchups wherein Iggy is actually the victor against in terms of the long range and also the capability to add a lot of damage for his team.
Yeah, because the problem is if they want to pick the Iggy, is fine for the team because it doesn't want to give the Iggy the side of talent. But in terms of talent, first pick, they pick the Elsu. Yes, the range for Iggy is much more greater. They had a longer distance, but in terms of talent, he can put down the Elsu maybe in mid, maybe in the Abyssal lane. But for the side of a dope team, they had an Iggy. We know Iggy will go into the mid lane other than the other lane, so it's not kind of a flex move coming in for ADT, and they bring out the Baldum first because we know ADT want to force out support first coming in for talent with not much more of a time to think, oh, maybe a Tain, maybe a Krizix, maybe they want to bring away the Richter into the support, so they want to force down talent to take the support first. Either way, they want maybe a Darkslayer lane or a jungle to be taken away by talent at first sight. So the first two pick coming in for ADT may be kind of balanced because they have the Baldum and the Iggy, so they already know which spot, which lane and roles will be taken away by Adobe. They already have support, they already have the mid lane. Liliana and also Tain is a good pick for talent. We know how the iPod Pro plays the Liliana, has much more damage than any other heroes in this current matchup, as well as the Tain that we played by Tony. We had a good games coming in for Tony with the Tain itself, but now Adobe team think it really well. They want to take the Laville first. Investment has been put out by the side of a dope team. They take a little bit more a number 3 kind of ADC to be played versus talent in the current matchup.
At this point, I think it is going to be a good counter. Laville has been picked up because of the Elsu. Whenever Elsu is going to be a stationary, Double Trouble is going to be definitely having a higher chance to hit that target. And also in terms of the composition, we're going to see an almost equal first 3 picks. We're going to see a lot of damage for both sides. Liliana and Iggy is definitely going to be bringing a lot to the table in terms of the long range damage and also the ability to damage a lot of heroes in an area. Iggy is going to be on top. But in terms of being able to burst down heroes, it is going to be on the side of KFC talent. So those are 2 spectrums that we're going to see. But on terms of the ADC picks, yes, there's going to be a long range for the Elsu. But in terms of dealing consistent damage in the clash, Laville is going to have the upper hand. Although the problem here is that if he's going to be able to enter the clashes at full health, because definitely Elsu is going to have that kind of advantage. In terms of the tanks, both of the tanks actually bring a lot to the table as well. Tain is going to be a very, very tanky hero that can soak up a lot of the damages, while the Baldum, the Wild Person, is definitely going to be playing a big part here. If they're going to be able to hit the Wild Person, they're going to have the advantage to set up their plays. They're going to be able to have a setup wherein a 5v5 could turn to a 4v5 for a temporary moment. So that is going to be a big thing on how they're going to be playing it. In terms of the tanks, it's about the skill shots onto that Baldum. And on the Tain, of course, it's just going to be playing some zone control for his team.
Yeah, I would say that they want to force down the Baldum first because of they don't want a specific ban for Bota in terms of how Bota maybe has not much of a champion pool, and it's giving the fact that they want a DPS. In terms of what been told here, but what you said is talent has more poke ability, and also Adobe they has much more DPS with the Laville. So in terms of the banning phase, I love the ban on the Roxy and as well as the Florentino because they wanted to negate LYL ability. If LYL has the Florentino, it would be hard because of the late game potential, and also the Roxy is a little bit too tanky to be fighting with. But now the bans coming in for ADC, for ADT, I love it. They not much of a Superman being played yet, but in terms of ADT, they ban out the Superman because they doesn't want any pokes coming in. They already have so much trouble if they already give down the Elsu. So pokes coming for Elsu, and if the Superman could bring a lot more trouble with their composition and their positioning, it would be much of a win for Talon in terms of their draft. But yeah, they bring out the Scud first. They want player objective. They want to one shot it and objective. Pretty much it for ADD. But bringing maybe the Mina as well as the Sinistria, I would say team fight composition, Talon had won a much more greater picks here. They had the burst damage Sinistria as well as the crowd control coming in for Liliana, and the Mina has much more potentially hard to wait it to give more damage in terms of he can just pull away Scott, maybe the Baldum. So Laville will be open in terms of team fight. So that is where Sinistra comes to play, coming in for Talon Esport, and I kind of like the drops coming in for Talon. And ADT, they brings much of the same kind of composition when they did win in the group stage. So a lot more information has been pulled out by ADT. They have same composition, but Talon is not the same as they won in groups. So this is maybe a new Talon composition with the Sinestra as well as the Mina. They bring it away versus in game number 1.
Yup, and looking at the full composition for both teams, we're gonna see a lot of the assassins on the side of KFC Talon. For sure, they're gonna try to zero in onto that Iggy and also into Laville. And you know, it's a very, very good matchup at this point. We're gonna see Scud actually being picked out. And one of the reasons we're actually gonna see a Sinistrea is because Sinistrea can actually kite Scud in a lot of the instances they go for a 1v1. The Lubu though, it is a very surprising pick. We haven't seen a Lubu jungle so far that has been effective in the AIC 2022.
Yeah.
And it is going to be a big thing if they're going to be able to pull this off, because it is going to be a jungle Lubu yet again. But in terms of the capability to burst down, definitely Sinistrea is still going to have a one-up over the Lubu, who has been nerfed a lot. And because of those nerfs, it affected a lot of the plays wherein he is not that sustainable and where he's not going to be able to use a big chunk of the lifesteal. The late game for Lubu is kind of weak right now, but the early game is definitely, and mid game is definitely still going to be for that Lubu pick. But going forward, KFC Talon against ADT, who you got? I want to see who is going to actually be having the game number 1 of this series, because they're definitely going to be dictating the momentum for this.
Yeah, not gonna lie, you sold a lot more information for KFC Talon, and I kind of like the drafts coming in for Talon. So ADT, they had as you said, the Lubu has becoming weaker in terms of late game, and Sinistra has more potential to kite and also give more damage. But it will dictate a lot more composition to be played by Talon. If they want to play more aggressive, they can, because they have the Tain as well as the Mina. In terms of invades, maybe Talon will take a lot more resources in terms of ADT not having a lot early matchup. They had Iggy, they had the Laville. They need to wait maybe a 3-minute mark after one objective has been spawned. So the problems for ADT is if they played a lot more aggressive in this term of matchup, it would be a pain for them. So KFC Talon in early game, they are much more happy in terms of their matchup, but late game as well, Sinestra has the potential to scale much faster as the Lubu, as well as the team fight that could Mina bring in this current matchup. But now the team fight will be dictated a lot here, but in terms of damage, it will still be Talon, and the members of ADT really needs to run away. Here comes Mina, but Mina cannot do anything in terms of she has not much of a skill just yet to pull and give more damage.
Yup, and right now that was kind of a disastrous, almost a disastrous play for ADT. The damage from Elsu is definitely not going to be negligible, especially in the early game. Just 2 snipes can actually punish you. And another snipe is going to hit onto Zhenshao. And there is going to be an engagement here. It's going to be the undistinguishable Fox form from iPod Pro with the Shining Light combination. There's a lot of damage. LCC2 though is not going to be falling off anytime soon. It's going to be dual in iPod Pro here in the mid lane. While NTNT is punishing L while L in that confrontation. There is going to be a start here. Elsu is going to be trying to go for a snipe. And iPod Pro finishes up that Abyssal Dragon with the information that the jungler from ADT is far away. We're going to see KFC Talon actually committing there. He knows that Zhenshao is not going to be able to just enter the area. Tony is going to be using the Apple Fury just to actually add some damage into the pool, harassing Zhenshao under the turret.
Yeah, he wants just to get rid of the shields coming in from Loville because he determined enough to make the snipes coming in for the Elsu. So in terms of what Talon is trading right now, they are waiting for ZF to just escape for the jungle and give much more a combo coming in for iPod Pro. iPod Pro still have much more movement in terms of the jungle, but ADT plays aggressive. They want to invade much more. They want to scare away with their aggressive gameplay. Oh my god, ZF secures has been secured with the snipe coming in for Ares. That snipe is still deadly. First blood coming in for Talon Esports.
Yeah, man, this is one of the things that is going to be falling off for them. Lubu sustainability has fallen off here in 2022, and iPod Pro is going to be hit by that Ember's Gaze. He is being harassed here by LCC2. Dane goes in with the Avalanche charge. Are they going to be able to secure? But they're just boxing not ADT at the moment because they're going for a push here. And another snipe actually hits from afar. KFC Talon now gets the first objective for their team. They get that tower on the bot lane. It's going to be opening up some rotations for KFC Talon. MTNT is going to be harassed here. Shadow Bombs are going to get hit. Dark Dominion is going to be used. He is going to be pulled down. And the stuns are going to connect. Move gets that kill. There is going to be the Wild Person hitting one member, but it doesn't matter because XF is running for his dear life. But still, a sickle through the back is going to happen. And KFC Talon is going to have that lead to a 4-0.
Yeah. ADT, they somehow lost in terms of draft with that Mina as well as the Sinistra pick. That is making a play for KFC Talon. They had a great drafts, and it takes a lot more objectives in terms of that this early matchup. That team fight alone is not to be taken by ADT because of how Mina is still there. Mina has the ultimate is on, so none of the members of ADT could just face away with that ultimate has been pushed by Mina. The anti-NZ position is much more crucial for the side of KFC Talon, and as well as the damage coming in from Mook, and that burst damage Sinistra could give is a pain for the side of ADT. ADT is not answering the call coming in for KFC Talon.
And TNT 12.8 on his KD. KDA. Ares might be in danger. Wild Person's going to be used. They're going to be catching up. LCC2 is going to use the Shadow Bomb. They're going to be able to take the kill with both tax damage on that Wild Person. They're going to be taking in some kills for themselves, but at what cost? They are going to be trailing at 3.7k, and KFC Talon is still going to be taking in another objective. Abyssal Dragon to their name. XM is going to be harassed as well. The blue buff is going to be secured here by KFC Talon. No kind of contest is going to happen. The members of ADT wasn't ready to help XF on that confrontation.
It's just too hard for Lubu versus a Sinistra. They had a burst damage versus that Lubu. Yes, he can just negate much more crowd control, but he's only on NTNC, maybe on iPod Pro. But in terms of how KFC is not dealing with XF much much more in the team fight, it will be scary for ADT because of ADT is not giving a much more effort in terms of, okay, they played a lot of aggressive in the early game, but in terms of in the mid, okay, Double Trouble has been hit, but no, the charge coming in for Tony to save his little friend. Ares is still alive, and they take a while to take down Bota. Is the first one to fall, but KFC Talent still, wow, the sickle has landed with the pulls coming in for NTNZ, but they lost iPod Pro as well as Tony, but the cleanup is here. Moop takes the double kill onto L. Only LCC2 is alive to defend this tower on mid, but they lost tier 2 on top side. Moop is still going hand-to-hand battle with LCC2.
Yeah, LCC2 is doing his best, but the problem here is that was a good save from Tony. And although the double trouble was a good initiation, it was a nicer counterplay coming from Tony. He sacrificed himself to actually save Ares from that sticky situation, and that gave them a lot of room to go for those outplays. We saw the damage coming in from the damage dealers of KFC Talent, and it was very, very substantial enough to burst down Zen Shao at that opening moments. And a big part of that amazing outplay was coming in from NTNZ as well with a 4-gear Dark Dominion that gave them a lot of time to deal a lot of damage. And definitely KFC Talent has the advantage still, with the leads slowly growing more for themselves, and almost 6k to the leads that we're actually seeing here for KFC Talent.
Zach F trying to find an open space to bring the fight, coming in with a couple more dashes onto the backside. iPod Pro is still not been noticeable with the rotation that iPod Pro has. And now with the hit coming in with the pulls as well coming in for NTNZ, they want to chase down Bota. In terms of Bota, is the first one they want to take. If no Baldum, then no armor or maybe defense coming in for ADT. It will be hard with a couple more pokes to be landed by KFC Talent, but that NTNZ is one more trouble. Could be deal with the members of KFC Talent, but the Ares secures the kill onto the mob, takes the tier 2 turrets in mid. The members of ADT needs to just regen a little bit to take the fight for the second round here. Ares with a couple more damage, but no damage to land, as well as LCC2. But the members of the ADT, they need to find a way, but the way is not giving the chances to live. But only Zach F a little bit more of a health to run from the troubles coming in for ADT. But they trade a lot here in mid lane. They trade first the Drog Slayer, but the tower will be taken away, and these two turrets is in the brink of death. But KFC, one by one, they trade a lot, and they want to force ADT into game number 2 without any contestant coming in. But NTNZ is still there. They cannot fight it out. It's too much of a damage. It's too much of crowd control. And Moop takes the kill as well as iPod Pro. They take one by one. ADT lost 4 members. This time, it's Zenzao is alone, finding and defend their core is not possible because KFC Talent is too much of a fierce team.
This is the difference of KFC Talent and ADT. They take that with a dominant win in game number 1. This is just game number 1 of the Best of 5 series, and we already see a very dominating game number 1 for the AWC champions. And still, KFC Talent taking that win is definitely going to be driving a momentum charge for their team throughout this series, and definitely it's going to be felt by ADT. They didn't have any kind of advantage going through this game, and just in the draft we already had a dissection of what is going to happen. There was a lot of good things that went for KFC Talent in this draft. It was a very, very balanced draft. They had a lot of range. They have a lot of assassins that could deal a lot of damage in a short amount of time. And also the wonderful saves coming in from Tony was a big part on why they had a very, very big lead. But not to say NTNC as well, who did a lot of the crowd controls for his team and a lot of backdoors as well. And that actually spiraled the control to KFC Talent without any kind of contest for ADT.
Yeah, the Mina pick is much more of the headache for ADT because ADT has no answer at all for that Mina matchup because they had the Scud. Scud is not playing well. LYL has no damage in terms of what could Mina give. Mina is too much of a tanky, so it's kind of hard for that kind of composition to be played by ADT. Game number one is clearly win by talent in terms of draft, but ADT they need to work it up. Game number two, not much of composition that game one could play in the games number two because of the global bans. ADT needs to think it well. They need to just invest the game and also invest the lineups in the composition game number two.
Definitely they need to actually build a stronger composition for game number two. They need this win because if they do lose this game number two, definitely it's a do or die in game number three. And you don't want to have that kind of pressure mounting for your team whenever you're actually in a best of 5 series. Because in a best of 5 series, you actually want to trade the wins and loses and losses that you're going to be suffering in this kind of series. Because usually when we see someone actually win game number two, there's a small chance that you're going to be able to win game number three. Because in game number three, they can actually just field a stronger composition for themselves. Definitely to actually just close the game. And if you're the one that needs to actually have 3 wins in succession, you're going to have that pressure wherein there's a lot of picks that's not going to be available for you in 3, 4, 5. Not like when you have that advantage in game 1 and game 2 that you have a 2-0 up over your opponents. And definitely on the draft, there's not a lot of the picks that were expended for KFC talent. So definitely they're going to be playing a lot more in game number 2. On the side of ADT as well, they did not expend a lot. They did use some heroes that was out of metal like the Lubu. They used a Scud in the Dark Slayer lane, which wasn't really the best pick. Because if you're going to be picking up a Scud, actually you have some of the thinking that you want to counter someone that the Scud can actually just close in and get a kill. And the Elsu is not going to be countered by that Scud. One of the reasons is that it's going to be hard for the Scud to come in with a Tate actually in the control of KFC talent. And that played very, very well to KFC talent's hand because there was no one that can actually enter the range of that Elsu.
Yeah, the thing is really messed up the drafts coming in for that Scud, but it's fair for side of ADT because they didn't want to invest a lot because they had time to just think, oh, Talent Esports is investing much more than them in the game number 1, so they want to play, okay, LYL, you take the Scud first in game number 1, maybe if you win that is a bonus, but in terms of game number 2 it will be much of an investment for ADT. But it's not just the team that is being a block for ADT, the Mina as well. That Mina is if Scott can go onto the back line, that Mina is doing his job really well. He pulls down Scott, he just stun and also gaze down that Scott is much more hard way to engage with that composition. So ADT probably they know that the Tain is going to be giving them a hard time because the Tain is the second pick for talent. So yeah, maybe they had the idea of the Wild Prison could make a difference, but that difference is not much because the same kind of composition, Talent Esports won the game number 1 with the goal happened to be 10k goal lead, and Talent Esports has been telling ADT that if you want to play aggressive, yes you can, but in terms of dealing damage, it's all the way Talent Esports.
Yeah, and we can see here on the damage dealt champions that it was mostly LCC2 doing it for ADT, and this was the conversation earlier. It's just LCC2 popping off for his team. Not much that you can expect from the other Adobe team members. Not much that they can do also with the draft. And to go back into the drafting, it's not about the expending. They did expend three big picks here. They picked up the Baldum, they picked up a Laville, and they picked up an Iggy, who has a high win rate here on AIC 2022. So that's three big picks already. The only picks that weren't expended really was the situational Scud and also the out of metal Lupu, which we haven't seen until now. And KFC Talon, yes, they actually expended a lot here in game number one, but they converted that four picks. Sinistrea is a good pick, but it is situational mostly. So they did not really expend a lot in game number one. Mina as well as situational as well in those picks. And it really proved a lot on how big the compositions was for them on the drafting as well. The MVP of this game is going to be NTNZ on that Mina with a 307. He was the main holder whenever Tony is out of contention, whenever Tony is dead, whenever Tony is back into their pace. You're gonna see NTNZ actually pull off the aggro on the three damage dealers of KMC Talon, and that was a big thing. They put a lot of sustainable heroes on ADT. The problem is that the damage that they were dealing wasn't enough. Laville, remember, is only a hero that's very, very good in the late game. And they did not have that kind of time to actually move on to the later parts of game number one, because the damage that was being dealt here was from early game. They already had the advantage. The Elsun, the Liliana is going to be popping off in the mid game. That is for sure, even with minimal items. And they did not have the capability to actually just tank in all of the damage, even with the Scud, even with the Baldum, and even with the Lubu. It was just not enough. They did not have the tankiness to outlast KFC Talent.
Yeah, the banning onto the Florentino as well as the Omen really takes a toll for LYL in the current matchup. So it's going to be really hard for LYL. He needs maybe a Yena, maybe the Amina pick in the game number 2, because like you just said, that if Tony is not available to defend the damage, that NTNZ is there. NTNZ is still in the vicinity to bring the aggressive gameplay with the flicker as well as the pulls, and it makes a lot more sense that Talent Esports has the high ground currently, and ADT did not invest. They invest 3 matchup. They invest a lot in terms of the like you said, Iggy, the Baldum as well as the Laville. But for Talent Esports, they only invest not much of a draft, because of the Sinestra is a situational and as well as the Mina. But yeah, in terms of what Talent could do and much of a hero pools that is bigger, maybe bigger than the ADT, we haven't know it will be sane in this kind of matchup, because this is the best of 5. So yeah, the Sinestra pick is really surprising, and it much of a work for Talent. But in terms of synergy and also energy that Talent bring, they did not care if ADT want to play aggressive, ADT want to just invade. They invade it back with the Mina as well as the Sinestra, and they have been calling out ADT in much of a team fight like they do in the mid game as well as the mid lane. It's still Talent has the potential, and Talent has the greater in terms of goal. It's not Talent playing slow. It's Talent telling that if you want to play aggressive, you need to farm a lot. You need to have an early composition, and Talent excel on that composition. They played really safe in the early game. They gave a lot of space for ADT, but ADT did not punish Talent for their comfort. So ADT takes the punishment when they did not punish away Talent, and it make it game number 1 for Talent Esports.
In the game number 1, the composition that we have on KFC Talent is a strong defensive composition. You have a Thane, you
Yeah.
have a Mina. It's just impossible that you're gonna be able to invade safely. In terms of the damage as well, you can see a lot of stationary heroes. You're gonna see Elsu actually just sniping in the area. You're actually gonna see Ipa Pro using his Fox form and assassinating some of the heroes as well. And one of the key points is whenever Tony is alive, we're gonna see NTNZ actually come up and zero in on priority targets like LCC2 and Zhenshao. They were always able to get Zhenshao and LCC2, and that is one of the biggest things why they actually won it easily. Because when you put out the Labil out of the equation, once you put out the Iggy out of the equation, there's no damage that you're going to be expecting from ADT. And that's a big factor why they keep on losing the clashes. And the range of the Labil doesn't help that the Mina can actually just zero in onto Zhenshao. Even with the shields that he has, that's gonna be 2 crowd controls coming in from the Mina. That's gonna be a long lock in as well. And you don't need a lot of time to burst Zhenshao and LCC2. Take note, this is a Liliana and Elsu and also a Sinistrea who's definitely backing a lot of that DPS. And going into game number 2, we're going to see an Omen again being banned out. There's still a lot of heroes available here for KFC Talent. Lorian is definitely going to be a choice for the mid lane. Iggy as well. Zata can actually be utilized. Maybe we're going to see a lot more of the other picks like the Raz being picked out as well. Maybe a Dirac on later on this in this best of 5 series if we do reach the 5th game. There's a lot more from for NTNZ as well. Florentino, maybe Roxy could actually be utilized as well, but I think support Roxy is a way better pick. You're Richter as well. You're also gonna see Yena. There's a lot of heroes that you can still utilize on the Dark Slayer lane. ADT as well has still a lot to play out for them. There's still a Superman. There's still a lot of picks. This is just game number 2 of this Best of 5 series. We only have a probable 18 bans because we already have a global ban and pick here. So you're not gonna see the game 1 heroes for each team that they've already utilized. And they have 4 bans each. 18 heroes are gonna be restricted. It's gonna be pretty fun to see what kind of new compositions are gonna be are they gonna be showing us here in game number 2.
Yeah, it would be because of the global bans is one of the exciting and a strange kind of roles that is only happen in AOV, and it could be one of the interesting knowledge that most of the team has to learn, that they cannot use the same type of heroes in game 1 and game 2. But ADT, they give away the Lorion in the hands of iPod Pro. They abandoned Nakros and also the Aya, and the possible to have much more crowd control for the side of Talent, and it is something that Talent is appreciate for giving up the Lorion, because we had a game for iPod Pro in the hands of Lorion is a 100% win rate, but they had a Lorion, they give the Lorion, they want the Roxy. Maybe they want for the support Roxy, they need to bring the Abyss lineup. They want to go for the Elsu, maybe they're batting onto the Joker for Talent, and it could be a game for Dope Hit is they need to invest a lot. They need to invest much more than Talent if they want to bring the game into game 3. That they had the same match point, and it's going to be really hard for ADT. They bring out the Crixie for LC2. Zach F still hovering wet. Which hero he want to play for side of Talent? These 3 picks will be much more greater because they have the Lorion. Maybe they want to bring the support as well. They already had a Tain, so they maybe go for a Baldum pick for that Crixie. But a Hayate versus a Crixie is not a bad matchup for the Crixie as well because of the cooldown updates. But that Superman from Ares has been given. This Superman maybe for NTNZ, this Superman maybe for Ares, but that Hayate is going to make the play with the Kunai Blitz onto Crixie as well as the Roxy. So if they want to go for the Superman, yes, but I think in terms of this current 3 matchup, it would be the Zuka. Zuka will make more sense because they want to go for the Superman. They want to force the Mina coming in for a dope team.
Looking at to the first 3 picks here of KFC Talon, they're gonna be packing a lot of damage. They have an assassin and a pseudo assassin onto Lorian. Usually when there is gonna be a Lorian pick, they use the Star Sky to initiate the crowd control. It's a very, very long uptime whenever you're gonna be hit by the Star Sky, as well as the zone control that you're gonna be able to do with the Lorian is definitely gonna be affecting the clashes here for a dope team. They're going to be putting a lot of mobile heroes on their side. It's a Roxy and a Hover onto Ellender, and they do lock in onto that Ellender. And with a Crixie pick, that's a lot of mobility for their side. But we've seen a lot of good plays for iPad Pro using that Lorian, and a lot of the chances is whenever he procs that ultimate, it's definitely going to hit someone here on ADT. Even with the mobility, there is a lot of situations that there is a lot of good predicts onto that hero, and with the range and zone control that they're gonna have here for KFC Talon, it's definitely gonna be difficult here for a dope team. It's either they win by ambush or pick off, or it's nothing at all, because in the Hayate pick, definitely they're just gonna be able to kite that Roxy pick if the Hayate is going to be locked in by the Agnes Grip. And definitely that's gonna be a hard task, because when you are actually fielding a Roxy, even if it's a Dark Slayer laner or it's a support, what dictates the effectiveness of a Roxy is on how good the ultimate skill shot for that hero. If you're not gonna get a valuable target or even any hero target, you're actually gonna be losing out in most of the clashes, because that's the only utility that you're gonna be expecting from Roxy. Yes, he can soak a lot of damage. Yeah, there is some kind of slow, but that is negligible, because the only thing that makes Roxy's kit very, very good is the ultimate. You're not gonna be relying on her mobility, on pushing or anything. It's just about the setting. Not like what you're gonna see on KFC Talon. There's a 1v1 potential here. Zuka is a very, very good hero for a 1v1. Those that can actually pressure the lanes and give you a lot of room to actually be pressured, because it's a hero that's good for side pushes as well.
Yeah, I love how ADT is. Maybe AYL, he's just a sleepyhead currently. He's just, oh my god. It's just, with the drafts coming in, game number 2, they still need some energy. They need something that could bring the game number 3 with the draw points. But yeah, in terms of what he said, that with the Roxy, they already has the Agnes Grip, the setups that Roxy could give in terms of team fight, yes. But ADT, they need something that could do much of a crowd control. They happen to have a wombo combo with the Agnes Grip as well as stuns, and also the burst DPS that Ellender had. It will be easy for them to execute the combo, but they maybe have to can kill only one members from Talon. That it might be something that the other 4 members could punish a lot more in terms of if they lose maybe a Ryoma, maybe a Varus. It could be a Azuka as well as Hayate and a Lorian punish all the members of ADT. The hard thing to remember is that ADT is trailing by 1 game. They want to they want to invest in this game, they bring out the Richter first in terms of talent. If they bring out the Ryoma, that is some investment made by talent. They bring out the Ryoma into some early game poking versus a Richter. Yes, Richter has a greater ability to just go into the mid game and have a lot more damage, but versus a Roxy with the Ryoma, maybe Ryoma will be the spoilers for Talon Esports. Yes, Ryoma in mid game will not have a lot defense, but with the burst damage that Talon could give, it is much to be handled by ADT. With the whips currently being hovered here, and if the whips been taken, yes, investment has been pulled, but with the double ADC plate by ADT is going to be much harder. But whips, I don't think whips will go for the Dragon Slayer lane. It will be something that could to be looked for in terms of ADT drafts. But Richter will be the Dark Slayer, but Talent Esports still has the upper hand in terms of drafts.
Yeah, definitely. I think ADT has a nonsensical draft. One of the reasons is we're seeing a lot of assassins on KFC Talent, and they still went in with a Zwiz pick. It is going to be a fact we're in an ADC always stops a Dark Slayer laner in the Abyssal Dragon lane, but still, with the kind of composition that we're seeing, the only protection ADT has is on the Roxy, and everything could go wrong for them because there's a lot of people that can crush the back line. Almost all of the hero KFC Talent actually can go for a has a gap closer, so to speak. A lot of mobility, the pinwheel coming in from Ryoma, you have the skills of that Zuka, you also have the skill sets of that Lorian, and then you have a lot of the dashes, the Kunai Blitz from the Hayate, and then you have Venom for that Varus. And definitely on the lineup, a lot of the targets, you have Crixie, you have that Elder, you have that Wiz, Richter can arguably be burst even with the parry, because you can cancel the parry with the crowd control, and the crowd control is definitely there for KFC Talent. And it's all about gonna be the plays coming in from that Roxy. If they're not gonna be able to capitalize on that, ADT is definitely gonna be losing game number 2.
And hard truth coming in from Victoria itself, but we will see if ADT being losing in terms of drafts, or maybe KFC Talent is much of ambitious with their composition, because of ADT has what it takes to be in this quarterfinal, but they have a lot more work to do. That Roxy is going to lose that blue buff because KFC Talent in game 1 they played a little bit safe, but in terms of game 2 they played aggressive. They takes a lot more objective in terms of that blue buff. So they're going to defend their blue buff instead in this current time, because they take a lot more. Now, who's going to take the blue buff in terms of how many damage? But the members of ADT trying to bring the buff a little well. But the flicker has been used from LCC2, but they lost first member. ZF takes the lead, but they trade 1-1, giving the Lorian for iPod Pro, and maybe they had a significant loss in that matchup. They give the blue buff for ZF, but the buff has been transferred back to Talent Esports. That kind of movement is not needed by ADT. If they didn't do it, if they didn't lose ZF life in that trade, it will be much of a win for ADT.
Yeah, I mean, a trade for a support for a jungler. It's based on logic. Of course, you want your jungler to be able to farm, and that trade is definitely not going to be worth it, since iPad Pro was able to actually secure that for themselves. Although Botak was able to get that blue buff, it is still a fact that we're gonna see a buffless Eleanor here, so he's not gonna be able to gank in most of the lanes. He's not gonna have that slow, and XF is gonna be spotted here. NTNZ tries to go for the steal with that Wailing Blade, and Botak is gonna be using that Agnes Grip to secure the blue buff away from KFC Talent. They're going to be hit by that Star Sky, and iPad Pro takes another kill for himself. That's already a 2-0. And not much can be done. Tony is there zoning out the members of ADT. Without the ultimate coming here from Potak, they're not going to be able to make some plays for themselves for sure. Except they're going to be securing some of the gold here on the middle lane to actually compensate for the blue buff, but at the same time, LCC2 is going to be falling off in effectiveness. He's not going to get having the maximum gold for himself. He is already at the 500 gold deficit against iPad Pro. It is definitely going to be felt. Ares is going to enter iPad Pro as well. Venom is going to be used. Botak might be caught up. That's going to be a stun. The moonfall from LCC2 is going to do it. Star Sky is not going to get a hit though. They are going to win that trade.